a picture, you put it to your iPhone, and then you get like sit down for lunch and you want to look at it again. Oh man, that's my picture. That did not exist yesterday. Wow. And you go to bed at night, you turn the lights off. Oh, hold on a second. Let me look at that picture again. Oh, there it is. That's because we're artists. We can't wait to see what we've done, what we've created. We can't wait to put it on a print on a wall and someone else to come along and say, that's yours? Yeah, that's mine. That's beautiful. So I think you're here because you're an artist. You say, oh, I'm not an artist. My wife says that all the time. She says, I'm not an artist. Where is she? Oh, she's gone. She's off getting her nails done. So it's built into you. I think it's built into every human being to some degree to be an artist and have ability to create. So I'll give you a funny story. I was at college level and I went to this art opening. Have you ever gone to a gallery, photography gallery, and someone says, oh, this photographer is the next greatest thing. And you go, this stuff's terrible. And you think, how'd they get a gallery showing? But I was at this gallery showing, and I met a graphic designer. I didn't know much about graphic designers, but I kind of knew they worked with type and design business cards and stuff. So I had in my pocket, I had been sketching out a potential business card. I wanted to start making a living with my camera. So I came up with this idea that I was going to have my business name called Golden Light Reflections Photography. It was going to be beautiful. And also I had Mamiya RB camera, medium format film camera, back in those days. And I had a little graphic. I was going to put a little camera, Golden Light Reflections Photography, Joel Grimes, whatever. So I pulled it out of my pocket to this graphic designer. I said, what do you think? He said, let me give you some advice. Sell yourself as an artist. Put Joel Grimes Photography. That way, it'll live with you as you grow with your career and you become famous. It goes with you, right? Golden Light Reflections, who's that? Right? So that was good advice early on. So I keep my name. My name is the most important thing as an artist. When I started the transition from film to digital, I wasn't happy. Shot film my whole life. I love film cameras. I love, the medium format camera sound. I had a 4x5 dark cloth, like Ansel Adams. But eventually, I started doing digital, and all of a sudden, my skills in Photoshop started to get a little bit better, and I had clients that we would go and get, in some cases, 25 people for one photo shoot. The stylist, the makeup, all the wardrobe, everything. This big crew to go out and photograph an athlete in a stadium. Well, budgets were getting slashed. The economy wasn't as good. Budgets were being slashed. I had this idea. What if I photographed the athlete in a studio and then shoot the background, put the two together? And it's a lot cheaper. So I presented that, and next thing I know, I started shooting all these ads with composites. My friends were not happy. My fellow photographer friends. They said, you're no longer a photographer. You've sold out. If you can't do it in camera, you're not a photographer. Okay, this is important. So are you good at arguing? I'd argue with them. I'd try to defend my position. For 1 year, we'd drive down the road, we'd argue. And I'd say, Ansel Adams, he manipulated in the dark room. I'd go on and on and on. I didn't do a very good job convincing people. Oh, no. But one day, I realized I'm approaching it wrong. I said, my next conversation with my friend, he said, you're not I said, I am no longer a photographer. What are you? An artist with a camera. Silence. He didn't know what to say. Because for years, me included, I lived under the umbrella of being a photographer. And I had to be and act like a photographer. So that revelation of being an artist with a camera changed my life. It's like I came to Jesus. It changed my life because now I would grab my camera and go, I'm going to try this idea. Oh, wait, that's not a photographer. Oh, I'm no longer a photographer. I can do it. And I'd shoot something. And so my work, people said, your work is getting really good. I go, because I changed my mindset. So that's important to not think of yourself just as a photographer, but as an artist. So I'm an artist with a set of tools. I wanted to make some t-shirts up, just say, think like an artist. Okay, we're going to keep going here. I don't know what time it is, but anybody been to the Grand Canyon? Okay, one person, maybe. Okay, you've been to a big cavern, deep cliff, far across. Okay. When I was in high school or junior high, I ran track and I did long jump. And I knew the world champion record holder in the long jump, Bob Beamon. Almost 30 feet he jumped. And so if you took the world's greatest long jumper to the Grand Canyon or a big cliff or cavern, and you say, we're both going to see if we can jump across the Grand Canyon. I jump, especially with my bad hips, I might get to the bottom. He'll go 30 feet out, but he goes straight to the bottom, right? So no matter how the world's champion jumper can't jump the Grand Canyon. Now, what do I mean by this? When you have a camera, you have a digital capture or film. If you capture film, you have Photoshop or programs that manipulate your images. You will never, ever capture reality. You will never, ever correctly capture skin tone. You can't reach it. We get close in some things, but you can't reach reality with a camera. It's two-dimensional, it's not three-dimensional. So, at my early stage as a photographer, I wanted to get the perfect exposure, the perfect skin tones, the perfect everything. And I started out, I had lots of hair. By the time I got done, I was pulling it all out because I couldn't get to where I wanted. I didn't realize that I was chasing the unattainable. Okay, why is this important? Look at my work. It's kind of a touch of reality, a touch of fantasy. A photograph needs to have an impact that has a touch of fantasy. Because if you capture just exactly what you see with your eye, that's not interesting enough to put on a wall, generally. I'm saying it can be, but I'm saying we need to build drama, separate the subject from the background. We use that with color, light, composition, all these things. So we're building something that's interesting, not reality. So it took me a while to understand, I got to let go of that anchor that was holding me down, was the reality anchor. I got to go and chase what my camera can do and what my creative mind can do, and stop trying to jump the Grand Canyon. So a photograph is at best an illusion. An illusion. So people, when I do an interview, they'll say, how do you define yourself? I say, as an illusionist. So when you go to Las Vegas, or maybe here they have a magician show, right? They have a stage, you take a girl, you put her in a thing, you saw her in half, the feet are kicking over here, her head over here screaming. It's an illusion. He's not cutting the girl in half, or she's not, right? They sell a fake to you. Chris Angel, did you ever see his stuff? Yeah. It's an illusion. He's a master illusion. You have to become a master illusionist too with your camera, to draw someone into that picture, to make them stop and go, that is beautiful. Wow. Okay, so that's your job. You have to learn that skill set. So I draw people into a world of make-believe. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not a photojournalist. If I was, I'd have a different set of rules. But right now, I'm an artist with a set of tools. I relish in this beautiful role of being an artist. Isn't that fun? I love it. Okay. From the moment that I conceptualize an idea to the moment I hang it on the wall, it's a series of creative choices. I have to think about this. I have a model. Are you getting really hot over there? Okay. Do you put her in a black dress or a white dress or a blue hat or a red hat or what do you do? It's overwhelming. Too many decisions. Sometimes does it feel like it's overwhelming? Yes. What do I do? Here's what's worse. You go to take a picture and you think, my colleagues, my friends are going to laugh at me. They're going to say, that's a terrible shot. My professor, my family, whatever. You think about what other people are thinking about, what that, you're motivated by other people. You have to stop doing that. Don't let someone else determine your vision. You stick with what you believe is right. So this is the part of being an artist. All right. So let's talk about this. Can art be defined? So you're looking at a person who was not very good in school, barely a C student. I remember one time I got my report card. I was so excited I got a C. C plus. So I'm going to define art for you. And I also got dropped on my head when I was a little boy. So, I'm a little bit wacky. Art is simply the manifestation of self-expression. You have something in you. You like black, you like AC/DC music, there's something that you like that shapes you, and you take everything you like, take a canvas with paint and start painting, or in our case, a camera, right? So it's a manifestation of what shapes you. It comes out. It has to flow out of you. And so we use a camera in Photoshop, things like that. If you have a passion to create, by definition, you're an artist. You have maybe never sold a picture in your life. No one's ever hired you in your life. to take a picture to get paid for, you're still an artist. We think, oh, that person has a gallery showing whatever. If you have a passion to create, you're an artist. What you want to do is get to where you are being hired and have gallery showings and all those things. So it's not the final result that necessarily defines art. It's the person that does it. It's the process that happens when you go and create. That's art. We can put a picture on a wall and someone comes along and says, that's the worst picture I ever saw. And then someone behind signs the check, takes it home and puts it on their wall. Why? Yes, perception. And so it's complicated. It's kind of a mystery. So I said this already. The best compensation you can receive as a technician is the technician's wage, but for an artist, there's no ceiling on what you're going to get paid. That's why a photographer like Annie Leibovitz, for one day, she makes more money than some of us make in a year because she's an artist and she's a creative force. So when you work for a client, what you want is that client to hire you to do what you do best. I've had clients call me, can you make someone fly through the air, smoke coming out of the back of their shoes with, like a rocket ship? And I go, no, you got the wrong photographer. So I like them to hire for what I do best. Much easier. Okay, this goes back to that statement I said that when I realized I was an artist with a set of tools. So from the moment I let go of my perception that I was defined as a photographer and began to looking at myself first and foremost as an artist without boundaries or preconceived ideas established by other, my work exploded on a whole new level. So this happened when I was about 50 years old. Most of you are under 50. There's still time left. You can have a revelation and go out and rock the world. So it's never too late to go and say, I am going to go and take my camera, build a body of work, and repeat it over and over again, get it out there and become someone that's recognized for what you do as an artist. All right, this is important. There's just one you. How are you guys doing? Understanding? There's just one you. When I have a workshop, I often say, you are unique, one of a kind. There's no one else on the planet just like you. You're like a snowflake. You're unique. You have, your phone has your favorite songs on it, different than mine. None of us are the same. You get up in the morning, you say, I want pink shoes today, or whatever. You make a decision that's different than the rest of us. You're unique. You're one of a kind. You have to understand that that is power. Your uniqueness is power. Because you can go and develop something and people come along and go, how did you do that? I don't know. I'm just being me. So there's only one Ansel Adams, Henry Cartier-Bresson, the decisive moment street photographer, Irving Penn, the portrait photographer. There's just one you. How many Michael Jacksons do we need on the planet? Well, he's no longer with us. Or Lady Gaga. How many Lady Gagas do we need? One. We don't need 10. We need one. You know what's really bad? Is a Lady Gaga impersonator or a Lady Gaga wannabe. That's what being an artist is being you, being one, and your uniqueness is your greatest asset. Rebecca and I were talking yesterday about, I'm colorblind. I used to not say that in front of my clients. I'm colorblind. I don't see green at all. Red looks brown. Pink, I can't see pink very well. Looks gray. I'm colorblind. My handicap, if you want to call it a handicap, I don't think it is, of being colorblind is the ace up my sleeve, because it drives me down a path that's different than most people. It pushes me down a path that's unique to me. So you may be short, you may be tall, you may, I don't know, whatever it is, you have a uniqueness about you. You may say you have a handicap, but I say it's a gift. It's a gift that you can use to separate you from the world. And you want to stand out from the crowd. You don't want to blend, right? You want to blend and be just like everyone else? No. You want to. So my son, when he was about 16, he wanted to dress like a rock and roll star. Skinny pants, black pants, he had his little hair. He was looking like a little rock star. So one day I said, hey, son, why don't you be a rock star and quit acting like one? Be one. Don't act like one. So how many Richard Avedons, Annie Leibovitz, fill in the blank are we looking for? Well, we know that answer already, just one. Okay, let's talk about the creative process. When it comes to the creative process, it can be the most difficult thing you've ever done, or it can be the easiest thing you've ever done. The reason why it's difficult, as I said earlier, is because I'm constantly thinking about what other people are thinking about what I'm doing. I don't want to be criticized. I don't want someone to say, that's not right. You centered it. You're not supposed to center. Use the rule of thirds or whatever. Someone's going to criticize me. Has anyone in here ever been criticized? We all have. And we don't like it. We hate being criticized. But you have to be criticized. It's the most important thing you could do. You can't just have everyone love what you do. You'll never achieve anything. You can throw up on the floor. They go, oh, that's art. I mean, you have to be criticized. When it comes to figuring out what direction to go in, you have to follow your intuition, your emotions, and your feelings. That's like blowing with the wind. That doesn't sound right. But your intuition, your emotions, your feelings will drive you down the path that's unique to you. So here's what happens. I'm going along. I got a goal. I'm going along. I'm going to get there. And someone says, Joel, what are you doing? I go, I'm taking pictures. I'm going this direction. No. You got to do this. Oh, really? Okay. I'm over here. Oh, and then someone else comes along and says, oh, no. You're doing it wrong. Go over here. And you just start zigzagging. You lose your direction. You don't know where you're going. You're confused. And then you go, I quit. You have to say, what does my intuition tell me? I love black. I love white, or whatever it is. I love this. I love up close. I use a 24 millimeter full frame, 24 millimeter lens on a lot of my portraits. I get up close, right here. When I was in school, they said, oh, no. You don't do that. Yeah, it's distortion. I love up close distortion, semi-distortion images. You know why? Because it's not reality. You get a big athlete like this. They want to look strong. And CEOs, the big CEOs, sometimes they're little short guys, But you do this and you put a wide angle lens, their arms get big. They're like, wow, I look good and tough. So I love that. I love using a wide angle lens. But I'm following my intuition that tells me where to go. And that's why I'm standing on stage, because I've followed my tuition, not someone else's vision. All right. We talked a little bit about this, but the most perfect technical photograph can be boring. Do people want to take boring pictures? No, we want to take exciting, beautiful pictures, right? So I have to be careful when I say this, because technique and technical stuff is important. But what you have to be driven by is the creative process. That's what's going to get you further than just learning f-stops, shutter speeds, all that. Some of you, especially the men, are more engineer-minded. The women generally are more artistic. So what happens is the women go and take a picture and they shake the camera, it's blurry, and the men will say, it's out of focus, right? But it looks beautiful, but it's like, well, it's not technically perfect. So we have to make sure that we're not driven by, oh, it has to be sharp. So people ask me, when I do my strobing, and we're gonna do some lighting here in a minute, you never use a flash meter. I said, well, I lost mine 40 years ago. I discovered something. When I was learning lighting, I'd have my subject, whatever. So let's say, here's my light, and here's my subject, here's my camera, here's my light meter. So I go, I need to make a light meter reading. So I go to the subject, f5.6. Oh. f11. Which is correct. I got confused. I asked a professional. One said, oh, you always meter from the face, pointing to the camera. Ask another professional, always meter with the meter or toward the light. I was confused. That's back when I was shooting Polaroid. So something amazing happened. My light meter broke. Then I had to go on my own. And what I discovered is the best way to learn lighting was, back in those days, was I'd shoot, pull the Polaroid, wait, peel it, and go, oh, it's too hot on the face. It's too low. I gotta raise it. So I used my intuition to tell me the exposure and where to put the light. Is it too soft, too harsh? My intuition, not a flash meter. So I say, don't rely on a technical instrument to tell you what to do creatively. Let your mind do it. All make sense? So I already said this. You like things, you hate things. Follow what you like. Follow what you like. And then you'll get to the end. It's really fun. All right. I'm going to do a lighting demo in a minute, but you know, a flash meter never tells you how high to put the light or what angle to put the light. A flash meter never tells you that. Even when you get a book on lighting, they say, oh, an umbrella, 60-inch umbrella over here, you know, and you go, well, how far away is it? Oh, they say, okay, 3 feet, okay. But what they don't tell you is over here is a big white wall that's bouncing light back into it. So when I started learning lighting, I was like, I don't understand this. And I get a light. You ever done this? You watch a YouTube video, you watch your favorite photographer, they have a 5-foot octabox, you go out and buy one, you put it up, and your picture sucks. You think you're doing it exactly like the video, but it doesn't work because there's lots more variables. But let your intuition tell you when you're right. All right. I talk a lot about this criticism thing because we're all, like I said, human, and I think that the people that get to the top have some kind of resilience toward criticism. You have to have some kind of just whatever. My wife, she gets and looks at my Instagram every morning, Facebook, Instagram. Now, I can tell you, every one of you in here, you're just like me. You're weak, fragile, and secure. Because when you post a picture and people say, amazing, you're incredible, You're a rock star. Best picture ever seen. You get 99 praises. And then one person says, that picture sucks. It's the worst picture I've ever seen. When you go to bed at night, which do you remember? The one criticism, because you're human. If you're like me, what I do, when I get a really bad criticism, I go to that person's Instagram and see how bad they are. Right? If you tell me I'm the best photographer in the world, I won't look at your Instagram. But if you tell me I suck, then I go and look at your Instagram, right? That's because I'm human. So we have to be able to take the criticism. And so I want you to think about that. When the next time you're criticized, say, this is their opinion. Most of the time, they're just stupid people. They're just mean or whatever, right? So don't listen to the critics. No artist is loved by everyone. Okay. We're going to talk about exposure here real quick. And I got to look at my clock. I don't have my watch, so I have no idea how much time I have left. I have to leave some time for my demo. Do you guys know the term or the process that Ansel Adams did called the zone system? You study zone system? That was back in the days of black and white. You had to get your camera calibrated, you processed it, your film, you went to the dark room, and you had a print that had pure whites, all the tones, pure black. So I studied that for 10 years. I wanted to get the perfect negative, the perfect exposure. It drove me crazy. I thought I should be a really good technician. I didn't realize. So, I know this sounds weird, but when you take an exposure, what determines the correct exposure? Your brain. You look at it and go, oh, it's a little too dark. The person next to you goes, no, that's perfect. And then you take it, and I did some pictures of you yesterday. They were blown out, beautiful. Her face was glowing, but the background was all blown out. She was in a white dress. No, it was 2 days ago. And I know that someone's going to say, oh, the background's blown out. But it all works perfectly because of the composition and everything. She's drawn into you. So I don't look at the metering on the camera or a handheld meter. I watch my eye to give me the determination. So I don't know how this is going to come because the sun's in here, and this is stretched, unfortunately. It's on my website. But I took this picture of a model, and I purposely blew it out. This was right after I had the revelation that I was an artist with a set of tools, no longer a photographer. So I did this shot, and I put it in my window, my studio in Pasadena, and I had these two big windows. I put this print and another print. People come walking by. They're looking at it. They stopped. What is that? Is that a photograph? What is that? And so I realized that even when I blew out the skin tones and made it, again, sorry for the stretched and bad exposure here, but it was a very powerful picture. Now here is an image of around the same time. I didn't have a studio at that time. It was right before we moved. But I brought this guy in, and I said, I'm going to do something different. So I had some little teeny softboxes. I never used them. They were too small. So I thought, okay, I'm going to put a softbox here, put a little beauty dish here. I did this shot. I didn't see a picture. I wasn't copying. I just thought, 2 edge lights. And I ended up, he left, and my wife, she was doing laundry. And she was pouring the soap into the clothes, and I come running in, I go, honey, look at this picture. And she goes, yeah? I go, this is going to change my life. Whatever. It did. I started doing athletes with this edge lighting. You see them, right? That's what started me getting national attention and getting invites to speak and all that. But it was that idea of just saying, what would this light do here, this light do here, this light do here? Just practicing. But to get to where I was photographing ad campaigns with Olympic medal athletes, I had to do like 1,000 portraits to get there. So whatever you decide to do a lot of it. By the time that the president of Mexico, you have to photograph, you're like, oh, hey, how you doing? No nerves, because you've done it so many times. All right, how are we doing on time? Who's my monitor? How can I figure out what time it is and where am I at? How are we doing? Oh, my helicopter just left. What time is it? How much time do I have left? 40 minutes left. Okay. Okay, real quick. To be proficient at anything is simply an investment of time. How many hours are you going to put into your craft? Stop playing video games or whatever it is, going to the gambling on the weekends to the casino. Go out and do something productive and chase your dream. Repeat it over and over again, and you will see absolutely amazing results follow. We are, as a general rule, we take the easy road to things. I don't like working out. You can tell. But there's times you have to say, I got to go to the gym. I got to go work out. I don't want to, but you have to. So discipline yourself, set a goal, and do the math. The math is the more hours you put into it, the greater you're going to get to the top. That's just it. You don't have to be the smartest person or the most creative or the best looking. You can tell. You just have to put in a lot of time. So that's kind of my little speech on that. So let's do a portrait. And what I'm going to do is I got to set up. Hopefully everything's still working. We're going to turn this thing off. And we're going to turn on my Cam Ranger. It says it's still here. We're going to get our backdrop over here. Hold on just a second. We're going to get everything set up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 2 ways to light something. When I teach lighting, I say you have to start with 2 approaches to lighting. One is cross light. So sunset light or window light, cross light. The painters used it. Most beautiful light on the planet, cross light. That's one way to light a subject. And you can do that by going outside or going to a window or whatever. We use cross light all the time. The second is top-down light. So if you have an overcast day, beautiful canopy of light, soft. Go down an alley with 2 buildings and you got a sky above you. You have that beautiful soft light coming down as long as you're not in the sun. So I'm going to show you those 2 approaches. And then hopefully you guys can see how I work here. So I brought with me 2 canvas backdrops and I left them in my hotel because we were taking all this stuff around the last 2 days, and so I forgot. So we're going to use gray. So let me pull this stuff forward. But I use gray all the time, and the reason I use gray is because in Photoshop, I can add a texture later. Okay. We're going to get the softbox over here. All right, so these went to sleep. Let's turn these on. My camera's still going, I think. Let's just take a picture of you guys. Look at that beautiful bunch of people. So let's turn this on. Okay, you know what we might do? Let's see if I have enough room here. Maybe bring this corner this way, just a little bit. Just a little bit. That's good, that'll work. Okay. So let's start out with top-down light. So the reason why I shoot 50% gray, I did 100 days on the road across America, 13,000 miles, 36 states. I did I didn't ride. 100 portraits of Harley riders, 100 bike shots. All the portraits were shot on gray. Then later, I added the texture in Photoshop because it's a blending mode of overlay. Very simple. So I teach that a lot. So let's go over here and let's do top-down light. And I'll show you how I work. Okay, my camera is, hopefully I can see here. So one of the things I do is I offset my camera just a little bit. Sometimes I can get away with just one. Let's try it with just one. I'll show you how simple this is. So I tilt this down just a little bit. Bring this up. Let me get my camera out of the way. I might want to put it on this side. So let's put it on this side. All right. So, as a general rule, I take, for my overhead light, I take a modifier that is, in this case, 24 inches. I put it 24 inches to the subject. If I have a 5-foot octabox, I put it 5 feet from the subject. Now, I have a whole presentation on that, but that's very simple. If you can do that, make a lot of money. Oh, you know what I don't have? In my golf club case, the outside pocket is that little pop-up. Or unless there's one around here, just a little reflector. Okay, so let's get in position here. Let me make sure everything's set up. One of the things I did with the Harley riders is I would put this up on the backside of a bar in the middle of North Carolina, so long as I'm in the shade, and do portraits of Harley riders. One time, my wife, she checked my where's my husband? And I was in a bar. It was at midnight. There's my husband again, out drinking. No, I was photographing inside the bar. They let me inside. It was really fun. So, all right, let's go. You want to come up here? So let's do, this is simple. Let's just do something simple. I'm going to have you pretty close to the background. And then, now because she has a hat on, you have to get that light pretty low, right? That's the challenge. So just push it back a little bit so that we want to see your face. All right. So let me measure. Let's see. Okay, I can go a little closer. And I want it dead center, down the line. Hopefully everything's still going to work when I fire here. Let's see, is this still on? Nope, this went to sleep. Okay. This is A light. So let's take A light, it's sleeping. We'll put B light to sleep. That's that light. Okay. So let me go down here and see. All right, let me do this. My aperture is going to be 7.1. F8, 7.1. That gives me plenty of depth of field. In this case, 7.1. My shutter speed, yeah, that could work. Is there white on one side? Oh. Okay, whatever. That might be too big. The one I have in my case is about this big. But it's a little smaller. But if they can't find it, I'll try this. It's on the outside pocket. Okay, my shutter speed's at 1/200th. That's the ceiling of what I can do because I don't need the ambient. My ISO is at 100. I start at 100, okay? And my output of my strobe, well, we need more than that. Hold on. We're going to go about 6. Let's get up to about 6. I don't know. I'm just guessing because I lost my flash meter. Okay. So ready? 1, 2, 3. A little dark. Let's get this out of the way. It's a little dark. All right. So what do? Well, it's stretched too. Sorry. Look at that. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay. I generally adjust the light, not my camera. Because I'm not smart enough. There's these teeter-totters of things you got to do. Pretty soon you're juggling all these things. Just go do one thing. Increase your power. So here we go. Let's go a half a stop. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So what I look for is the shadow under the nose. How long do I want that shadow? Now, in this case, because she has a hat on, I'm going to have to be careful. I can't go too high because I start losing it. But generally, I want a little shadow on the nose, a little shadow under the lip, and a little shadow on the chin and the eyes. Get a little shadow. Because if you bring it down too low, it looks like a ring light, right? So let me just raise it up a little bit and get just a little more shadow. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That's a little bit better. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. That way we can see her face a little bit more. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, go straight on again. I love straight on portraits. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now, I could bring her eyes out in Photoshop, give a little bit more eyes. Let me zoom way out. I'm going to show you how the light falls off. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoops, I got crooked there a little bit. But see how the light falls off? It's like kind of like a vignette, a natural vignette. All right, so now what we're going to do is we'll start with silver, okay? So he's going to hold it. And then that'll bounce a little bit up. Okay, so let me zoom back here a little bit. Ready? 1, 2, 3. We have lost Houston. We lost connection. Boy, I can't see a thing over here. Let me turn this way. Are we back up? Okay, it just went to sleep. The camera did. Okay. All right. So let's bring up the silver a little bit more. And I'm going to zoom in a little tighter. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So we're filling in, the shadow is still there. We're filling in a little bit, a little more flattering. So here's what I say. The only goal I have right now as a photographer is to make her look absolutely stunningly beautiful. She's already beautiful, but I want to make her look like a supermodel. Or when I have an athlete in front of them, I want them to look like they're tough. So it's my job to make them the most flattering as possible. What's that? Well, sometimes I ask them, do I ask them to act? Yeah, sometimes, but no, mainly it's more of a portrait, very, 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 can you see? You can see? Yeah. So I'm at 50 millimeter mark on a zoom lens. I have a 24-70 zoom. So let's try this. I'm gonna back it up a little bit, and then I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Let's see, you may say this looks better. 1, 2, 3. This might be a little more compact. Not much. Then we go in here and get a little closer, and I'll do the same thing wider. Now I'm at, let's go to 20, well, we'll go to 24. Here's 24. I told you I love 24. Okay, hold on a second. Let me raise it a little bit. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That's 24 millimeter. Doesn't look too bad. It's not too distorted. But if I was doing an environmental, I'd have all this environment around her. And that's what I love with the wide-angle lens. All right, so that's top-down light. If I get a bigger modifier in close, it'll be softer. If I back it up, it gets harsher. So let's try to back it up. Let's just do one demo here, backed up. And this is what a lot of fashion photographers do. Right about here. Now, I have to increase my exposure because I backed it up. So let's give it some juice. Here we go. Let's go, that's one stop. Let's go a stop and a half. I'm guessing. Ready? This will be a little harsher. So it's a little snappier. See the shadow under her chin? I always look, the revelation of how close the light is or how big the modifier is how sharp the shadow is. So that's actually not a bad light right there. Some of you may go, I like that better than the other, right? Because your personal preferences. Let's see how far we can go here. As I back it up, I have to raise it because I want that angle. Now, what's really good is if you're bald, this bounces off your head and then it fills under the shadows. I had to put at least one bald joke in. Okay, we got to get some more power. Let's go. We're almost at full power here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So it's a little snappier. If I took and put a bare head on it, it'd be really harsh, right? Okay, so there you go. Not bad. All right, let's do cross light. We're going to do the most beautiful light on the planet. We're going to put this right where you're standing, right here. Right here. Put it right there. What's that? The inside is silver, but it doesn't matter so long as you put the diffusion is, because this beauty dish, it's going to be this. I've tested it. So you know I've designed this. Yeah, so I did all the tests in the world. And they came out with I said I wanted silver, and the first batch was white. I said, I want silver, so they finally made silver. So they have 2 versions. Okay, we have turned, let's turn off A light. A light's asleep, B light's now woke up. Okay, oops. All right, so let's wake up A light. So if you were to study photography and you're in school, they probably tell you to put this light at 45 degrees to the subject. That's what I was taught. I didn't learn lighting in school, but I was taught that. Well, it's okay. But the reason why I run it straight is because Rembrandt, his studio in the Netherlands, he had his subjects sitting here, his paint easel here. A window was not 45 degrees, okay? And so the reason why this works is when the light from here gets to her opposite cheek, it's a wraparound gradient smooth feeling. It fades into it. So to me, it's much better pleasing light. For, I would say, 40 years, 35 years, I have run my box 90 degrees to my subjects, and people were loving what I was doing, and this one photographer came up to me, probably 10 years into my career, and he said, I really like your work. How do you set your softbox up? And I was always very open. I said, 90 degrees. He goes, me too. Don't tell anyone. And I've told everybody. It was Jeff Noble out of Phoenix. All right, so let's go. So there's a lot of questions. How high do you put it? How low do you put it? How far? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with it in the wrong spot. Let's start out over here. Okay? And then we're going to work to good light. Make sense? Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and we're going to fire one off. I don't know my exposure yet, so here we go. All right, not bad. Okay. So now we have lit on one side, shadow on one side. There's no light really hitting her left cheek. Would you make a good living with this? Probably not. Okay, we're going to work toward beautiful light. So what I do is I start walking this away from the background until this cheek over here gets lit. See what I'm doing? So let's go 8, 10 inches. Do one. 1, 2, 3. Just a hint of light. Not good enough. A little bit more. Oh, I'm getting darker because I'm backing it away. So let's give some more power. Sorry. Let's give more power. 1, 2, 3. Now we're starting to get a little bit more pleasing. So I'm going to raise it up a little bit. So what's that doing now is the shadow is going down a little bit from the nose. And I might have to increase the power again. That looks pretty good. Can you see you're blocked here? So see how we're starting to get the Rembrandt triangle right here, just a little bit? So what size do you use? Well, it depends on how much I want to cover. So if I have a bigger one, which is I can't see it says, I think this is 3 by 4. 3 feet by 4 feet. I don't know, I just guess. I've been guessing on my exposure. But then if I have a bigger modifier, I just back it up. Does that make sense? So the further you back it up, the harsher it's going to get. So let's try that. I'm going to increase my ISO here this time. So let's go to 250. Oh, that was way too much. So that's sorry, now we're blocking the screen, but that's harsher. So if I bring it in tight, closer, it's going to be softer. Now I have to change my ISO again. Let's go back. We'll go to 50. It's a little softer. Maybe I should go to 100. Let's go to 100. ISO. Now, do you see how fast, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? You know how fast I can change my ISO with a Canon? I'm sure that it's only Canon. But the little ring on the outside of the lens here, I've dedicated to my ISO. I just hit that button. It's really, really nice. Okay. That looks pretty good. Let me back it out so people can see here. Can you see? You want to see? Oh, I'm going to fall off the stage here. Okay. That's beautiful. And that's just with a very silly gray background. But so the reason why you don't want to follow a formula is because what I like, you may not like. So you just adjust it, click, 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 click. Oh, right there. Then maybe you put a little fill card. We don't really need a fill card, but you could put a fill. Sometimes I have the model away from the background, And then I put a little fill card, and it puts a little highlight right on the side. Just a little silver. In fact, let's have you, I don't know how far I can go. Let's bring you out. Right about there, that's good. Now, what's going to happen to my background? Darker, yes. Good or bad? Good or bad, okay. So let's start without the fill, then we'll use the fill. Hold on, come back in a second. All right, let's just do this real quick. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the background's really dark, but now take the fill card, the silver, and just go like right here, just out of frame. It should light a little bit on the side of her, and then I'll move it out of the way here so you guys can see. Okay, bring it out just a little bit. Right there. It's a little bit. There's a little highlight on her face, or just it's coming in just a little bit. You can see it's kind of subtle, but okay, I think that's good. Thank you. Very good. All right, so let's wrap it up. And then if you want a question, you can ask me a question. You're unique, one of a kind. There's no one on the planet just like you. You have this, you're like a super person. You have something about you that's so unique that the world needs to see what you have. And so you go and you get an idea, you take it and you repeat it over and over and refine it. Your first pictures are not going to look very good. Pretty soon they get better. And then after about a year or two, they start looking amazing. After 3 years, you're a rock star or whatever it is. You have to let the time go, and you can't do it overnight. So you have to be in it for the long haul. You outwork your competition, and you'll end up at the top. I have many times I go to events, and there's young photographers, younger than me, and they're like little rock stars. And someone comes up to me and they say, "That's your competition." I go, "Oh, no. No, the only competition I have is me, because if I'm lazy, then I'm not going to do anything. If I work hard, I'll do great things." So I don't worry about other people. Now you say, "Joel, come on, really?" Yeah. Ask my wife, do I worry about other people? No. Yeah, and my wife knows. Now, am I perfect? No, she said no. All right, do you have any questions? Oh, I could use a water, yes. Anybody have a question?
I have a question. Everybody needs a style. Everybody's looking for a style, right? But what's better? Your essence with the different styles, or you're looking for your style? What's better?
Trends. There's trends. Clothing trends, movies, everything's got a trend. Comes and goes. A lot of times it's this. I hear bell bottoms are coming back. Skinny jeans are out. I don't know. If you chase a trend, you'll always be back at the back of it, and you'll never be discovered. You have to go and create a trend. You say, is that possible? Yes, because you're unique. You're a superhero. Why don't you go out and do what you love, do it really well, put it out there, and people go, "Wow, I'm going to go follow that person," because you have created something that's different than what's going on. The problem with the trend is, okay, so let's say I come up here and I have a look that you go, "That Joel Grimes look is amazing." And I went to his workshop, and I'm going to be Joel Grimes the second. I've been doing this for whatever. Let's say that whatever that series I'm doing, I might have been doing it for 5 years. So I'm already through the ranks, and you got to go through the ranks. By the time you spend 2 to 3 years doing it, it's old hat. It's gone. So you want to go out and set your own trend, and you'll be surprised. You'll have a following. You know, you don't need the masses to follow you to be successful. How many people do you need? Not that many. So don't worry about what the trends are. Go out and set your own. You'll be happier too, because you're doing your thing. Any other questions? Come on, you guys have a question, right? Yes.
How do you get inspired for your creative process, and how do you handle criticism when you're doing something different than everybody else?
So my inspiration comes from the love that I have for being an artist. I love it. I come along and all of a sudden I'll see something. Now that'd be kind of fun to do. I'll do a series of that. So a lot of times now I think in series. So that's one of the problems that most photographers don't do series. They'll do a picture of an eagle flying over a lake. Next week it's a surfer, on the coast. Next week it's a farmer. They're not doing a series of something they repeat over and over. So usually what I do is I try to find a series of some sort. And then I begin to work toward that series. Now I have to make sure I'm in that series for the long haul. Now sometimes I've done a few things. I start a series, I don't know if I like this now. But you have to make sure that you pick something for the long haul to get recognized. The second part was criticism.
How do you manage that?
Well, we talked a little bit about that, and because I'm human, I'm just like you. But usually what I recognize is that, okay, so let's just look at it this way. Music is a perfect example. I'm driving in a car with you. You put on AC/DC or what's Axl Rose? What's that group? Guns N' Roses. I never liked Guns N' Roses, okay? And I was in the Jeep with this guy, Tony Mandarich, big football player, and he's cranking Guns N' Roses. I'm like, after about 30 minutes, I'm having a heart attack. He loved Guns N' Roses. I didn't, right? So I know that when someone criticizes me, they're probably because they don't understand what I'm doing and they don't love what I do. So it's not really a criticism that I should even take serious. Because if I said to the person playing Guns N' Roses, this music sucks, do you think he's going to go cry? No. He'll go, well, that's your problem, not mine. So I think really you just have to think, we talked about this a little bit at lunch, is that put yourself in another pair of shoes, and that helps you understand people. And so human nature is so predictable. And so I know I'm human. I have likes and dislikes. Not everyone's going to like what I like. My wife, she's a tough boy. When she gets when someone criticizes me, watch out. Watch out. She gets the whatever stick out. She'll beat you up. But no, she hurts more than I hurt because she doesn't want people to criticize me. But every day, almost every day, I get criticized. Isn't that not true? On social media, almost every day. So you're going to go through it. That's just part of life. Yeah, if you're in the spotlight, he says, you're going to get criticized.
So just one last question. You're saying pick a theme and do a series of it. How does this theme come to your mind? Where does it come from? Do you get inspired by other
that's a good question.
things, other people?
That's a good question.
How do you do it?
I think you should pick something that's no further than an hour drive from where you live. So right now, we moved to a little town outside of Phoenix, Arizona, called Wickenburg. It's the roping capital of cowboys. You go to the store, cowboys everywhere. So I have now access to cowboys in my backyard. So I might want to do a series of surfers, but that's 6 hours away. So pick something that's within reach that you can repeat over and over. That'd be the best thing. The other thing too is you might want to pick something that you know can bring you a good income in the future. So if you're like sport figures, athletes, there's a lot of ads supporting fitness, sports. So that's a great genre to go after. Oh, I look really fat. Do you see what I'm saying? Pick something that maybe will turn into some good income in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think that is it for today. And what a pleasure to be here. Thank you. I know that not all of you understand English 100%, so I hope you had a good time. You learned something. My goal is to inspire you. I have a workshop on Monday. I have no idea if it's filled up or not. Maybe we only have one person. I don't know. But if that's something you're interested in, you might want to check. So thank you, guys. I really appreciated being here. Thank you.
Bueno, pues muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias, Joel, de verdad, por tu tiempo, por tu generosidad, por compartir tu talento, tu experiencia. Seguramente todos los que están aquí presentes se llevan por lo menos un consejo, un tip para que puedan mejorar su fotografía. Y bueno, queda claro que la parte de la creatividad y sobre todo cuando la comparte alguien como Joel es fundamental para seguir desarrollando y creciendo. Entonces, Joel, thank you very much. It was amazing. It was a pleasure having you here. And el lunes tiene lo que es ya un taller de 11 de la mañana a 6 de la tarde, en donde va a compartir absolutamente todo lo que hace y cómo lo hace. Entonces quedan un par de lugares. Si alguien quiere asistir, los invitamos ahorita que pasen a la mesa de Canon para que vean las posibilidades para que puedan asistir. Es algo que de verdad no se pueden perder. No todos los días está en México, no todos los días está en Guadalajara, entonces no dejen pasar esa oportunidad. Y de nueva cuenta, gracias a Fotomecánica, gracias a Canon por hacer esto posible. Y Joel, thank you very much. Si alguien creo que pregunta.